When commodity components are abundant, you can create value simply by assembling them in novel or effective ways, much as the personal computer revolution provided many opportunities for innovation in assembly of commodity hardware. With companies like Dell making a science out of such assembly, thereby defeating companies whose business models required innovation in product development, we believe that Web 2.0 will provide opportunities for companies to beat the competition by getting better at harnessing and integrating services provided by others. Scientific publishing, peer review, and open access. I will explain a little bit the sociology of science and how it works. We are able to apply all these ideas to science and more specifically to open access and growing number of a growing number of scholars and almost all librarians are in favor of free access and with no restrictions to the content of academic journals. Naturally, opposing them, one can find almost all the editors, publishers of the traditional academic journals, and also again a number of scholars. Under normal conditions, the main interest of librarians is to provide scholars with the publication which demand the least possible cost, and the interest of commercial publishers is to offer the best article in order to maximize the prestige and economic profits. On the other hand, young scholars who are always more inclined than the veterans to change the established world order are more enthusiastic about open access and formulas such as the open peer review. That is to say, a more open and democratic peer review. And it's completely obvious to everybody that the editorial boards of the most prestigious journals have the most distinguished academics, and that their identity usually coincides with those of more advanced age and who also have more privileges. Therefore, these scholars are not generally interested either in open access or in open peer review, although they have been much talked about exceptions. The origins of open access date back to the period in which scholars realized the immediacy that internet offered for the dissemination of the discoveries among their colleagues, which was very important if one bears in mind the relevance of the priority of discoveries in scientific enterprise. Subsequently, the serial crisis, or in other words, the exaggerated and unjustified increase in the prices of commercial journals, has become the principal argument to promote the initiative of open access. So, with one side set on open access, the two identified path to digitalize printed science and file or archive digitally born science are the golden road, which consists of digitalizing printed journals and continuing exactly as we have until now, and the green road, which consists of scholars themselves self-archiving their articles directly in institutional or disciplinary repositories. Such as, for example, one of the best examples known is archive.org or ORG. A number of supporters of Golden Road advocate financing the cost using the author pays model. Or in other words, if the author wishes to have people open, then she or the should pay money to the open access. I do not wish to enter here and now into economic debates about whether the green road is sustainable or whether the golden road has to follow the author pays model, and so on. What I wish to do is propose an alternative model, which is one I will describe you below, just now. Going back to the previously mentioned example of the music CD, which ensembles songs, I have to say that the current basic science is that an immediate recompense of the publication and dissemination. On many occasions, the even more so model of the golden road goes ahead. The scientist's goal is to obtain the greatest possible impact by being cited the greatest number of times by others. Their professional prestige and thus their income, power, influence depend on this. And in order to achieve their goal, they are willing to see their articles at no cost, with the sole condition of being cited. Therefore, if various journals and monographs, including one of their articles, are published, they will not raise any objection. On the contrary, each time that one of their articles is published, they consider that their chance of being read and subsequently cited increases. Although it's certain that in some cases the citation of other articles are made so as to deny a specific idea instead of to give it support, it's no less certain that the citation generally represents a reading recommendation and thus intellectual support. In this way, different computing platforms have been developed which, following the ISI Thomson model, Web of Knowledge, show how many and which articles have cited a specific text we are interested in. Examples of this type are Sitebase or Google Scholar. The model that I propose defends the idea that scientists self-archive their papers in the open access digital repositories. The institutions in their institution digital repositories or other disciplinary repositories that have been successful and have a critical mass. The self-archived articles and critical reviews or counter-criticisms, refutations in Popper's language, which are introduced in different digital repositories, form a network of citations that add luster to different discussions, whether these are groups of articles, experimental data, observations, or commentaries. Thus, the repositories which have better technologies of recommendation better sieve the wheat from the chaff, or in other words, good articles will be separated from bad ones using the combination of different types of counting of downloads, citations, co-citations, and so on. In this way, the network of articles will become denser and denser as more and more articles are added. But at the same time, similarities and relationships between the different texts that were not able to be appreciated at first sight will emerge. The ancient tree of knowledge, with its various branches of knowledge, will be converted into an authentic jungle in which the disciplinary branches will begin to disappear amongst the thick undergrowth, where discussions focused on the resolution of specific problems from various viewpoints will emerge. My proposal is that the self-archived articles in the institutional or disciplinary repositories may be published as many times as one wishes and in many journals as are considered adequate, in such a way that what these journals publish does not have to be seen as a set of disciplinary articles which usually have no relationship with each other, but rather as a unitary discussions that point to the resolution of a specific problem. In this way, even though the traditional procedure of the authors sending their articles to the academic journals still continues to exist, the most astute academic journals will fish in the digital repositories for what they consider to be best for their readers, as if we were speaking about a fishing ground. Consequently, their added value will consist more in presenting discussions than in publishing a cumulus of unrelated articles. Innovative journals whose editorial boards are knowledgeable elite make the right choice in grouping articles and comments related to resolving common problems and thus forming optimal discussions about a particular theme will be rewarded. Different journals will be able to choose identical articles if they so wish, since their added value will reside in the relationships shown between them. In other words, there will be no exclusively contracts with regards to these articles.